Alright guys, today's video is about something I think a lot of us have been quietly waiting for. And honestly, it's about time. We're talking about two styles that should have been added ages ago. Alexis Ness and Nico. Yeah, I know. The moment you read the title or saw the thumbnail, you probably knew exactly where this was going. Because for months now, these two names have been floating around the community. People have been asking for them since the Kaiser and NEL Isagi updates, wondering why they've been completely missing from the roster. And now we might finally have our first real hint that they're coming, so let's get right into it. Yesterday, one of the lead developers, the same guy who runs most of the community polls, Melted, dropped what looked like a small message in the official Discord server. But if you know how Melted operates, you know he never posts something just for fun. His messages are almost always hints or teasers for something in the works, and this one caught my attention. At first glance, it looked like a random joke, but it mentioned both Alexis Ness and Nico in a way that instantly made the entire Discord go crazy. You've got to remember, this is a server with hundreds of thousands of members. Devs don't just casually drop names like that in a public chat unless they're planning something. Whether it was intentional or a playful leak, it definitely got the community talking again about these two characters. And honestly, it makes perfect sense that they'd be next, because if you've been paying attention to the recent update pattern, you've probably noticed how the devs have shifted focus. They're not just dropping random styles anymore, they're starting to fill the missing roles. Specifically, support and defensive players. Look at the last few months. We got Charles, who was one of the first proper support playmakers. Then we got the massive Don Lorenzo rework, which completely changed how defenders work. Then Sei got updated with new passing mechanics and his refined Divine Destruction Awakening. Each of these updates pushed the game closer to having a more complete balance between attackers, defenders, and midfielders. So if you think about it, Alexis, Ness, and Nico fit perfectly into this new design direction. Let's start with Ness. Well, you know that he's Kaiser's right hand. The tactical midfielder, the assist king, the player who literally makes other stars shine brighter. It's kind of ironic that Kaiser's been in the game for so long, and his duo still isn't playable. In lore terms, Ness was essential for Kaiser's dominance, and gameplay-wise, that kind of character archetype, a true passing-focused midfielder with precise dribbles and utility moves, is exactly what Blue Lock Rivals needs right now. Think about it. Aside from Charles, we don't really have anyone who specializes in playmaking. Everyone's either a scorer or a hybrid attacker. Even Sei, after his rework, is still more offensive than supportive. But imagine a style like Ness, someone whose entire kit revolves around, like passing and more. His awakening could easily be something cinematic where he reads the entire field and sets up a perfect assist. It would finally bring some depth to midfield play instead of just being the space between your dribble and your shot. Now let's talk about Nico, because this one makes just as much sense. If Ness represents tactical precision and coordination, Nico is the complete opposite. A sharp, reactive defender who relies on vision and interception. Ever since the early chapters of Blue Lock, his character has been defined by that insane field awareness. Like Isagi, his ability to track multiple players, and the iconic meta-vision moment that made him stand out. In fact, Nico was one of the earliest examples of reading the flow before Isagi even mastered it. So imagine what his kit could be like in Rivals. He could easily become a hybrid defender midfielder, someone who uses meta-vision style abilities to predict enemy movements, intercept passes, or even counter shots. It would make him a natural rival to styles like Isagi or Aiku. And that's why I genuinely think both of these additions are not only possible, but inevitable. Now here's where it gets interesting. As you guys already know, the next update, the one that's coming out literally this week, is the Halloween update. And yes, that's the same one featuring Reaper Sei and Demon Shadou. If you check the official Blue Lock Rivals Roblox page right now, you can already see it teased in the menu. But here's the important part. The devs have already planned the next two updates ahead. The first, of course, is the Halloween event update. That's the one dropping in a few days. But after that, we're getting something even bigger. A massive balance change patch. Now, this upcoming balance patch isn't being labeled as a rework, but trust me, it's going to hit almost every single style in the game. The devs said themselves that they want to bring everything closer together so that the meta feels fair and competitive again. That means adjustments to speed, cooldowns, steal ranges, and probably some awakening damage tweaks. So, in short, this next patch will reshape the foundation. And once that's done, that's when we can expect new styles like Ness and Nico to arrive. Because let's be honest, right now would be the perfect time to introduce them. The Halloween event will bring hype. The balance patch will stabilize the game. And once that's out of the way, adding 2 lore-rich, support-oriented characters would make total sense for early November. It's almost poetic timing. Think about it. Halloween closes out October. Balance resets the field. And then November opens with a brand new chapter introducing the tactical and vision archetypes. Honestly, if they don't release Ness and Nico after that, it would feel like a missed opportunity. Now let's talk about what we might expect from their movesets. For Ness, I could see something like a precision pass move that automatically locks onto nearby teammates in the perfect scoring position. In other words, just as perfect a pass as Say and Charles have. His dribble could be slower than Lavinho's, but more controlled. Kind of like Charles, but smoother and less random. For Nico, I imagine a completely different playstyle. Something more reactive. Maybe his passive could be something like Vision Lock, letting you read nearby enemies' moves for a brief window, revealing their next input or highlighting the path of the ball. His awakening could be a cinematic intercept, a moment where he predicts a striker's shot and completely shuts it down, sending the ball flying back down the field. That kind of defensive counter-awakening would actually fit perfectly with the polls we saw earlier this month. Remember that one where 89% of players voted yes to having counter-awakening skills? That mechanic hasn't been used yet, but Nico would be the perfect test case for it. If they nail the animation quality and flow the same way they did for previous reworks, these two could honestly redefine how we think about midfield and defensive synergy. And to everyone asking when exactly, here's my honest guess. The Halloween event will drop at the end of October. That's confirmed. Then we'll have the huge balance patch in early November. After that, probably mid or late November, that's when I believe we'll see Alexis Ness and Nico make their debut. It lines up perfectly with how the devs pace content now. One hype-themed update, one mechanical/balance patch, then a gameplay-focused addition. And since the community's been begging for more playmakers and defenders, this would be the ideal way to deliver both at once. Also, let's be real. It's been a while since we've had new characters that weren't just seasonal or limited. We had Lavinho, we had Loki, we had the reworks. It's time for something fresh. And Ness and Nico bring that freshness while still being connected to the main Blue Lock lore. So yeah, I genuinely believe it's happening soon. Melted's tease might have looked casual, but with how close the timing is, there's no way that was random. The devs know exactly what they're doing. They're slowly building hype leading into November, and if I'm right, Ness and Nico will headline that patch. But as always, I want to hear what you think. Do you believe the Ness and Nico leak is real? Would you rather see one released before the other? And what kind of moves do you think they should have to make them stand out in the current meta? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to see how everyone feels about this potential next wave of styles. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next video, probably right after the Halloween event drops. Trust me, the next few weeks for Blue Lock Rivals are going to be crazy.